Fellow auto detailers, welcome to the show that features interviews with today's most successful auto detailers. This is the Auto Detailing Podcast. Here's your host, Jimbo Balaam.
Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to this episode 333 of the Auto Detailing Podcast. Super excited about this one because Ryan, the guest on today's show, actually has a really good marketing tip that I've never talked about, that I've never even thought about before, that I think a lot of us detailers would enjoy doing. And really, it's a marketing tip, but he talks about how he uses going to cigar bars to get new clients. Honestly, I've never even thought about that my whole life. He's doing it with great success, and as you'll see as he talks about his journey, he's even, as he looks at expanding to a different city, he checked for local cigar bars to make sure that there was something there, because that is what has been working for him. So maybe it'll work for one of you out there listening as well. So I'm excited to share this episode with you. Of course, JimboDaily.com, full selection of auto fiber towels on there, microfiber towels, home of the Jimbo kit. If you're interested in a hand-curated, hand-selected kit of microfiber towels, and you want to kind of even use it as a sampling to check out some of the auto fiber towels, the Jimbo kit is a great place to start. You could get that at JimboDaily.com, as well as other auto detailing accessories. All right, guys, enjoy this episode 333 with Ryan Dolce. All right, welcome to this episode of the Auto Detailing Podcast. This is going to be episode, I think, 334, but I could be wrong. Anyway, we've taken almost an hour trying to get this set up, so that's why I'm not going to worry about that too much. But today on the show, we have Ryan Dolce from Status Pro Detailing in Florida.
No, Long Island, New York.
Long Island, New York. Your Facebook cover photo is throwing me off because it's a Florida plate, but then it says Long Island. So sorry about that. Long Island. So Ryan, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
And I really want to, when you reached out and we started talking, you really wanted to kind of share your journey and then some difficulties that you've come across. So before we get into those, why don't you tell us a little bit more about yourself and then how you got into detailing?
Okay, so, I've always been a car enthusiast. I can remember since when I was a little kid, going to a restaurant and walking through the parking lot, I would always look in the cars and the windows to see the speedometer. And if a car said 160 on the dash, I was like, wow, that's, it's a fast car. It's a cool car, And then I always remember being able to memorize cars based on the taillights and the logos. And I just grew up loving cars, playing racing games and all that stuff. So, when I got my first car about 5 years ago, I didn't know anything what detailing was. I remember going to the dealer lot, and my dad said, "Oh, the paint must be treated because the water was beating up on it." And I was like, "Okay, cool." I didn't know anything about it. But then about a year later, I went over a friend's house, and his dad got a brand new Lexus IS 250, and it's black. And the paint was so shiny. I said, "Wow, Mr. Trupo, what did you use on this paint? It looks amazing." He says, "Oh, I waxed it myself. Used Maguires, I think it was Gold Class." He showed me the jar of wax. I was like, "Wow, you can do that? You can make a car look like that good with this product?" He said, "Yeah, you could buy it at AutoZone or whatever." So that was my first real introduction, so to speak, into detailing. So after I met with him, then I bought it and I used it on my own car, and I pulled up to my friend's house. He says, "Wow, it looks great. It looks amazing what you did on the paint." And it pretty much spiraled from there. I started getting more products, and my car was the guinea pig. My parents' cars were test subjects as well. Use it on their cars, and started doing some friends' cars, for fun on the side. My friend would come over with his Lexus. I would detail every time he came over. Would do a little something different. So maybe we would vacuum the interior one day. The next day we would polish some water spots out. Then another day might be a headlight restoration. Another day some scratch removal, a D badge. So I really gained a lot of experience from that. Also, at the same time, I was watching a lot of YouTube videos, auto fetish detail, Darren, very helpful, extremely helpful. Really educates you on the subject, and I really learned a lot from him, like a lot. And I'm very grateful to have came across his channel. But so from doing my friend's cars, then to doing his parents' cars, that was like the first paid job I had. And then when my uncle would come, I would do his car. And then there's a local cigar lounge by my house that I go to a couple times a week, relax, network with other people.
It's actually a great idea.
Yeah.
Sorry to jump in there, but I heard that and I'm like, that's like I have a buddy and his he's in real estate with his dad, and I always ask him, like, how does your dad get all the referrals? And he says, he hangs out at the golf course, and that's how he gets all his leads. And I thought, man, that is so cool. If you could do something you like and get leads from that and customers from that, and whether it's the cigar shop, the golf course, the basketball court, the baseball diamond, the car clubs, or whatever, it's like if you could hang out somewhere and unwind and still work, that's like the ultimate. I love that. Sorry for interrupting.
No, don't apologize. I love how you immediately recognize how that's such a powerful tool. Like,
yep, it's huge.
This cigar lounge, it's a great place to relax. I go there a couple times a week. I meet with some friends, and it's funny because I love it. The people there are great. It's very good for networking, and the majority of my clients actually came from the cigar lounge. That picture you saw on my cover photo with the Florida plate, he is now a very good friend of mine, and he owns a cigar lounge in Bayside, Queens. I do his car twice a year, and I go to his lounge. He's got my cards there. He refers me to people. I've gotten a bunch of business off his lounge, and then the local lounge by my house. There's a guy that has a Corvette I do like 4 or 5 times a year. Another guy has a Range Rover. Another guy has a GMC. A lot of people with nice vehicles that really care about them and care about keeping them clean.
That's what I was going to say. Is it a higher end clientele that,
Absolutely.
I'm totally ignorant when it comes to cigar lounges and bars. I go to one about once a year in Vegas, usually during SEMA, and that's about it. But I know cigars in the detailing industry are, something that a lot of people like to have and indulge in and use it as their unwind or decompression. Absolutely. Or whatever. So I almost feel like that may be a huge like aha for people, is like, hey, just find the local cigar lounge by your place, mm-hmm. if that's what you're into, and freaking go hang out a couple times a week, and maybe it might lead to that higher echelon of people.
100%. You couldn't have said it any better. It's there's a very high clientele there, and you know what? Ironically enough, even though like a lot of the people smoke in their cars with the cigars, the car interiors are very clean. They really care about their vehicles, and that's not to say that everyone has, like a really nice car. Like, not everyone's driving a Bentley or a Porsche there. Everyone has vehicles that it seems like they care about, and that's the type of customers I like. I don't like to deal with people who, there's all trash thrown around, and I'll take the business. It's great. I love detailing, but I would prefer a car that is already at a certain level of cleanliness, and detailing bringing it detailing
right
to the next level.
You don't want to be doing the thrash cars. You just want to be doing the kind of dirty cars.
Right, like Darren from Auto Fetish refers to it as the grunt work. Like the superficial dirt has to be removed before doing the detailing anyway.
Yep.
So, like I said, the cigar lounge really, really like thrusted me into like business. Like, I have a lot of clients there. Everybody knows me there. I walk in, everyone says, "Oh, how you doing? The weather's been cold. I guess you haven't been doing many cars." But it's great because people really network there and come together, and it's good. It's good for people in business looking to get new clients, and it's also good if you need services to I don't know, maybe you need a lawyer. There's a bunch of lawyers that hang out there. Maybe you need a chef. There's a bunch of people who are in the food business there. A friend of mine owns a mobile bartending company. I do his cars. Another friend of mine is a wedding planner. I do his cars. We all meet there and network. So it's a really powerful tool, and I encourage other detailers to take advantage of it.
I love that idea. I think it's a phenomenal idea.
Certainly.
So what else? So then how long ago did you start your business? You started doing friends and family like a lot of us. I think the gold class paste wax was actually the first wax I applied to a customer's car, so that's pretty cool. But after it starts branching out from friends and family, when did the business come around?
So I kind of was like halfway, 1 foot in, 1 foot out in the business aspect for about maybe like a year and a half. It was like, oh, I love detailing cars. I do it for myself. I do it for my friends. But then I would say about two and a half years ago, I got serious about it. So so right now this is spring 2018. So fall of 2016 is when I really got, end of summer, beginning of fall 2016 is when I really got serious about it. And I had business cards made. Another beauty of networking, my friend's father, the first car that I detailed, he's a printer for a living. He made me cards. He gave me tips on what to do. I had some stationery designed. I put my cards out there, and it was a work in progress. I acquired more items and tools. I got my McCulloch steamer. That was a game changer.
Huge game changer, steam, yeah.
Yes, McCulloch steamer. Then I got my Harbor Freight $80 dual action polisher, which was a great learning tool. And I knocked out a lot of cars with that in the beginning. Excuse me. And then from there, I got a couple vacuums, one that I kept in my van, one that I kept in the garage, and just really worked on building relationships and just getting out there, building up an Instagram page. I didn't have an Instagram page for about, I don't know, almost a year in. And then another guy that was doing window tinting was like, wow, you really should get an Instagram page. I was like, oh, social media, blah, blah. But he showed me like pictures he posts and all the likes and like the comments. It said, wow, this is a great tool. So, now I use Instagram and it's great. I've met a bunch of great people on Instagram. This guy, Jason from Detail House in Texas with Dyno Wax. He's a really nice guy. He supplied me with a lot of Dyno Wax stuff. There's a lot of great fellow detailers on Instagram. So social media really helped me. And I would say up until the point now, I'm just focused on putting out quality work and not really deviating from the bread and butter of the business, which is the cars and the results. It's not just a hype, not just, I'm going to wash this car and put a bunch of foam on it. I mean, that's great and all, but I'm really focused on the quality, not the hype.
Totally. It's funny you say that. I just released a podcast today when we're recording. Did you saying that you should foam more often. So that's it. There's definitely been mixed emotions on that. And I'm really a rinseless guy. So, but yeah, I agree with you. As long as you get to the result, that's really all that matters. So are you working out of your house? Are you mobile? I know you deal with some weather in upstate New York. So do you have a shop? What is that status currently?
Okay, so I'm split between three ways, all right? I try to be very dynamic, all right? Well, we're on Long Island, and the property and real estate and the rent prices are extremely high. And right now I'm not afraid to admit it, it's still a work in progress. I know I'll get there. I don't have the clientele to afford, a facility that's going to cost me $3,000 a month.
And that's what this is all about, by the way, is tracking the journey. Because when we talk to Ryan in 3 years and 5 years and 6 months and 18 months or whatever, and you got that shop, you're going to come back on the show and talk about how you got that shop. Because there's a ton of guys just like you in your situation right now. So we all learn, just like the cigar thing, we all are learning from each other. So there's no shame in talking about exactly where you're at this moment in time, because it's not going to be like that in 6 months or a year or 2 years,
Yes, absolutely. I look at I look at one quick tangent, and then I'll go back to what I was saying. I look at how I first started. I didn't even know what detailing was, and then I had a jar of wax and a rag, and now I have
100%.
I have a whole garage, 3, 4 shelves full of equipment and chemicals. I have probably around 100 people in my contacts, detailing related now. Like customer wise, I have almost 2,000 followers. I have a lot of people I've met along this way. I have cards in a bunch of businesses, and you know, so I'm really surprised that I made it this far already. So I think it's only going to get better. Um, so right now, as I was saying, I am spread between 3 locations. So I work out in my house, which is great. I work out in my garage. That's where I store all my stuff. I work out in my driveway. I have a van, a mobile van that I go to the customer, and a friend of mine owns a warehouse out east on Long Island, and he sells used cars out of there. Now it's not like a typical like used car dealership that's on a main road that says Johnny's Used Cars and it's got all the flags and it's a big lot. He sells he deals with one-on-one. It's only him, one-on-one high-end clients. He sells high-end cars in a warehouse. It's where he stores them, and he gives me a little space there that I work out of, and I keep the fleet clean, and I help him sell cars. I give him referrals and stuff, and I have some equipment over there too. So I'm really spread between 3 places. I don't like to just say, oh, I work out of my house, and then, well, that's not convenient because some people want you to come to them.
Yep, 100%.
Right, and then I'm out there in the East End, and that helps because I got customers out there. And then also I'm looking to expand to the Hudson Valley of New York State. My uncle bought a house in the Hudson Valley, and from what I've been told, there's some cigar clubs around there, and there's a lot of a lot of high real estate. So I'm gonna try to, he's got a nice 2-car garage. He said that he doesn't need one side, so I'm gonna see if I move in there, try to hit some cigar lounges up there, talk to some people, maybe get some jobs up there. All I need is a couple clients, get that first spark, and then I'll be split between 4 places then.
Yep.
So
really that is your kind of go-to thing, is that you found that works. Your marketing tool initially is to hit the cigar bars, because like you even said, you're looking at this new area, looks like it's a good potential to do some work, but how are you going to get that work, right? And then you fall back on your cigar bar idea, and boom, there you go.
Certainly, because not that you couldn't do it, but for most people it would be uncomfortable to go into a supermarket and just start talking to random people about car detailing. Sometimes people don't like to be bothered in a situation like that. They might feel like
100%.
They might feel like you're trying to solicit them, and people don't like that. People don't like pushy. That's what I've learned.
Exactly, they don't.
Right. So, and I don't drink alcohol, so I don't go to bars and stuff like that. But the Cigar Lounge is good because everyone's there, relaxing, talking, watching football or baseball, and people are just. It's not a place you go to talk about your problems and the stress at work. Everyone's there to unwind and have a good time. So I'm sure I can meet a couple people there and get a couple customers in no time. I think it'll be easy.
Love that. Let's talk about a couple of the struggles that you've come across or obstacles that have kind of jumped up in your way, and how you've kind of gotten over those.
Certainly. So, of course, I would say the first obstacle is essentially when you're starting out. It's like, what do I buy? There's so much out there. There's so many products, and of course, the normal person can't afford to buy all these products, and it would just be unrealistic. So I really did a lot of homework on YouTube and the forums, nitpicking. I found some products, and then you find these revolutionary products that you can use to replace other products. So I know you said before you're a rinseless guy, so am I. Optimum no rinse, revolutionary product. Use it for basically everything, from quick detailer to clay lube to rinseless wash to interior cleaner. It makes a fantastic interior cleaner. It doesn't leave a greasy shine. It just leaves a nice matte sheen. And OptiSeal, P21S, Carnauba wax, Sonax, Full Effect, Iron X. I could go on and on about these products. So once you get these revolutionary products, you don't need to give into all the hype. Like, I'm not bashing anyone here, but there's some companies out there that I'm not going to say the names, but I'm sure you can think of it, that they have it seems like they have 5 products for one thing. You know what I mean? Like, they might have a product, trim cleaner, and then trim cleaner and dressing, trim conditioner. And it's just like, it's a lot of marketing, which I understand. It's a business, but
Sure.
People fall into the trap and they're spending all this money. And then it's like, okay, well, they got to work that off in order to make the profit out of that, and they might, at the beginning, they most likely don't have the clientele. So essentially, they're just wasting money, and I feel like that's a mistake that a lot of people make. I've made the mistake. I've bought products that I barely used, but so that was one of the struggles I had with getting started, really figuring out the products to buy. Again, I feel like I'm mentioning this guy a bunch of times. Auto Fetish Detail really helped me watching the videos. He cuts straight to the point. There's no bullshit. He tells you what products work and what to buy and what's going to make you profitable. And the Maguires Express spray wax is one of those products also. I feel like you mentioned that. Revolutionary product that can replace like 5 products at least. Quick detailer, spray wax protection, interior enhancement, glass cleaner, trim conditioner, so to speak, and it's a great product. So that was that's the products end of the struggle, of one of my struggles, I would say. Another one would be just not knowing where to start. It's like, okay, I got these products now, and how do I go about getting customers? I mean, you can just tell your friends like, hey, I'll do your car once in a while and you can recommend me, but I mean, as you might infer, that's not really an aggressive marketing technique, because it's like, it's passive. They have to work, they have to recommend you, they have to say they have to tell a person about you, which I'm sure they will do, but that might not be as aggressive as getting on Instagram, social media, Craigslist, local groups in your area that you can find on Facebook, a website, in-person networking at bars, cigar places, school, if you go to school, if you go to college, a club, I don't know, places where a golf club, a boat club, a car club, so that was another one of my struggles, was finding really, how do I get started? I have all these products, I'm learning, I have experience. How do I go about bringing these clients in? And that, that's still a work in progress. I try to meet people and talk about cars and see if they might be interested in my services.
Right. Being relentless,
Stuff like
but also
that.
meeting people where they feel comfortable and kind of letting it come out organically and naturally versus trying to force it, which is, I know I keep going back to it, but why I like that cigar bar idea so much, because it's so, gosh, it's freaking brilliant. It's freaking brilliant. So how have you overcome these struggles? Just by putting yourself out there and kind of engaging with people and talking about it?
Yeah, so part of the thing that you really have to do, you have to say, listen, and this is something that my father always taught me. If you ask someone something, or if you approach someone and you're not necessarily in their face like, oh, I'm trying to sell you this, I'm trying to sell you that, but if you talk to them and then you kind of leave off like, oh, if you're ever interested, you can contact me, here's my card. Don't be afraid to do that, because there's 3 things that could happen. One, they could walk away from you and be extremely rude, which in that case they might be doing you a favor, because you probably don't want to do business with a person like that. they could say yes, which would be great, or they could say no. So there's only three things that could happen. So once you get past that, no problem. It becomes so much more doable. You just got to get past that initial barrier, and then you can talk to anybody. And that because you know what, if someone says no, that's fine with me. I'll get another customer. I'm not worried about it.
Right.
Man, maybe who knows? Maybe it's uh not my destiny to do business with them. I feel like all the customers that I've gotten, I'm extremely grateful and blessed. I've dealt with good people. I've met a lot of good people, and that's definitely how I would say I overcame getting started, was just not caring and not being worried about like messing up, just talking to people and you know just putting myself out there.
Love it, man. And is that the advice that you would give to, a detailer in your shoes or maybe a couple steps behind you? It's just exactly what you just said.
Yeah, essentially. I mean, once you once you stop worrying about like, how someone's gonna react and what they're gonna say, I think that's 75% of the battle, because once you initialize contact, is like I said, only one of those three things could happen. And if they say yes, great. If they say no, all right. I mean, it happens. I mean, you're gonna hear no a lot more than yes
Yep.
in any business, in any business.
Yep.
Uh, and people walking away from you, that probably won't happen, because I feel like most people, if it's a phone call, yes, they'll hang right up. But in face-to-face contact, no, no one's gonna walk away. No one's walking away from you. People don't really do that. Um, but as soon as you get past that, you, that's like I said, 75% of the battle. That's
Yep.
it. Once you talk to one and they say yes, you get your confidence up for another and another and another and another and another, and it just keeps going. And as with each customer and each car or vehicle, a ATV, a boat, a truck, you get more experience. You learn customer service skills with people. You learn how to deliver to their needs, and you get better. So just keep going.
Love it, man. Love it. If I'm glad we were able to do this. If people want to get a hold of you, if they want to contact you, follow you, if they're in Long Island area, and want to reach out, that's what's really starting to happen. That's super cool. Is that detailers are hearing about other detailers in their local city, and then they're forming relationships with each other. So, if people want to do that, how can they get a hold of you?
Sure. So you can follow me on Instagram at Status Pro Detailing. You can visit my website, www.statusprodetailing.com. You can send me an email, Ryan at Status Pro Detailing. And I mean, you could call me or text me. My phone number is 516-305-3364. You could call me anytime if you just want to talk about detailing. I love talking about detailing. You can, I don't know, ask me a question, whatever. I'm a reachable person, and I'm really I'm looking forward to meeting some new detailers, because I love meeting people.
Awesome, man. Thanks so much for coming on the podcast.
Certainly, it's my pleasure. Thank you for having me.